Akiba from Desert Heat. I'm sitting here with
Ambadex Morgan, a.k.a. Mike Sullivan, a.k.a. Buddy, if I know you like that.
So we're gonna get to know Mr. Ambadex today. How'd you come up with the name, man?
I'm a big fan of Dexter, the show Dexter. I've had various names in the past. I've had Two-Face, He'll Figure the Dawn. Mike Sullivan was one that I was going by, just a moniker, and then it was Ambadex that was given to me by a member. Kelly Thompson used to be in a group with him, and then kind of ventured into Ambadex and Morgan, so it just kind of grew into that.
Right. Mike Sullivan?
Yeah, Mike Sullivan, it's Angel of Death. If you've ever seen the movie Road to Perdition, that's the name that Tom Hanks plays. Mike Sullivan, the hitman. So, but it's M.I.C. Sullivan.
Alright.
Little twist on it.
So you're also part of Aeon Primitive.
Yeah.
Now that name, that sounds some like sci-fi shit to me. I hear it in sci-fi, you know? But what's the origins behind that?
Okay, Aeon Primitive is myself and Cliff. He goes by Cliff Notes. He's the main producer, one of the main producers that I work with within the group, aside from G from MLP and some others that we're working with. But I used to go to high school with him actually, and he remembered me from we used to have lunch table ciphers at Yate High School, and he was in a death metal band, which is crazy, long black hair, like death metal shirts and whatnot, and but we had art class together, and we always shared music and stuff, I listened to all types of stuff. Well, he ended up marrying a good friend of mine's sister, and life happens in between. He did his thing, I did my thing. Well, I was out of the game for a while. I was kind of uninterested with music, and I started talking to a lot of the younger artists in the area, and they were saying that you can market yourself or network yourself rather on Facebook. So I decided to get on Facebook. At first I was kind of against it because I thought Facebook, MySpace was for the boppers, but I got on, and aside from my wife and certain family members, he was one of the first people to friend request me. And he got a hold of me. He said, hey, I've been messing around with hip hop beats. I was like, you, death metal? You've been messing around with hip hop beats? But I went to a studio setup, and his beats are different. I would definitely say they have a unique sound. I think G would agree with me too, man. So we just ran with it. The name Aeon Primitive, I think we did it to be different. We just like the way it sounded, but it's funny because if you actually read the definitions of the two words, they kind of go together. So that's pretty much how that came to be.
All right. So you've known him all the way since going out there?
Yeah, I was a sophomore when he was I was a freshman when he was a junior, and I was a sophomore when he was a senior.
Well, what would you guys describe your music as? How would you describe it if someone were to ask you, what does your music sound like?
I don't know, man. I hopefully I try to stay away from sounding like anybody, or we do. Rather, we say progressive hip hop because the sounds have more of they're more kind of alternative and industrial. They kind of have a feel.
That's the first. Whenever I heard y'all's first song.
Yeah.
The first song I heard was, I thought, industrial.
Yeah, and we both listen to a broad spectrum of music, so I think that kind of transmits through our music, as far as the sound.
Okay, so I guess that brings me to my next question: who do y'all see as influences?
Oh,
I know there's gonna be a bunch, but if you could just kind of limit it down to a couple that just stand out and maybe manifest in your music somehow.
Definitely whoever does the production for The Weeknd, we like a lot of those beats. Tricky, Pussifer, man, you got some metal in there. You got some trip hop, chill out, some dubstep, type influences, and definitely hip hop influences like Jay Dilla. I know Cliff, you're a really big fan of Jay Dilla, and you know, those are those interpretations, man. But we definitely try to stay in our own lane as far as music. So.
Okay.
I'm playing on both your houses!
Okay. Who would you say is the first artist that you try to model your flow after? Who is the first one that inspired you to kind of try it out?
Wow, so we're going way back. The first, it's kind of funny. I have a crazy story. Aside from Run DMC, the first real hip hop that I liked was the Beastie Boys. And my father used to work for the bus, it's the school bus systems here. And lots of times kids forget things on the bus, and if they don't claim them, you're able to take them home. And my dad used to bring me all type of stuff, and we're talking 3rd grade out in elementary. And so he brings me home this tape, Beastie Boys, Licensed to Ill. Yeah. So I listened to it and I thought it was the dopest thing. And I bumped that thing until the tape snapped. And then we were too poor to afford cable, so we finally got cable. And I tripped out because I had no clue they were white. I had no clue. Because my Licensed to Ill album, if you remember it, there's no picture of them. There's no picture of them, so I didn't even know they were white. But I thought that was so dope. I like the Beastie Boys.
Awesome. So where do you plan on taking your music? Where's not necessarily in terms of goals, but how are you expanding your music in terms of how you make it?
Definitely using the social networks. That was definitely not an outlet that was available to us back in the 80s and 90s. Networking with other artists. Other than that, and we're looking into video, looking into apparel, looking into all type of stuff, and a lot of connections, man. I'm making a lot of connections with a lot of that stuff, so I'm excited.
Kind of making it a brand, right?
Yeah, definitely. It'd be cool to see some people rocking some of our stuff. You know what I mean? Just kind of showing love. When we do this music, we really totally expect nothing, and that's the honest truth. So when people are genuine with us and they really like to work with us and like our music, that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? It's like you see what you kind of planted blossoming, in a sense.
And kind of in a natural way. I mean, it spreads on its own if you make
it. Definitely.
So I mean, we don't have Cliff Notes here.
Yeah.
But what can you tell? He seems like to be the more, what do you say, the quieter one of the two?
Yeah. He well, we're both kind of recluses, man. It was kind of funny because we always laugh at ourselves because artists are like, well, how do you guys make your music? And I said, sometimes we feel like we're two old guys in the basement, kind of one plugging on the string, one playing on the drum, and we just kind of let's build off of that. But Cliff is a good man. He's a really good friend, very talented, very open-minded, and very artistic, man. I think, and I've known him for years, and I've known his family, aside from them for years, and just really, really creative, man. There's a very creative, artistic, fun energy when we're together. We just kind of, build off that.
Just able to vibe in the studio whenever it comes down to it.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's talk about industry and rappers in the industry. Who you feeling right now? Who's capturing your attention?
Let's see, industry-wise, I like Kendrick. I like Lecrae. I know a lot of people might not know who he is, but I think he's a phenomenal artist, him and the whole 116 crew.
I think a lot of people write him off because they categorize him as a Christian rapper.
Yeah, but they got a lot of skills. Him, Andy Benale, Triple E. I definitely like Stolly. A lot of the bigger names, I don't really. I mean, they make good radio hits, and you always find something that you like.
Yeah.
But I always drawn more to the artists that are, I don't know, kind of behind the scenes, if not, more undergroundish, I guess.
Yeah. If you had unlimited budget, whose production would you get? Who would you get on the feature?
Production wise, I like Boy Wonder. I like Tricky. I like Legendary Trackster. Havoc. Definitely get Muggs on a beat. Primo. Man, there's so many. Ant, who does a lot of Atmospheres beats, but I want to get more God Loves Ugly type beats versus the newer Atmosphere beats.
I've heard of it. Not a lot of people really.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Atmosphere. I like his music.
Okay. Well, what do you have coming in the future?
We got this Audioscope mixtape that we're working on. It's WKR presents Audioscope. WKR pretty much is like our little thing, me and Cliff, and it's funny. It's an acronym. It really doesn't have any meaning to it. So you're like WKR, we kill rappers, weak kids run, weird kids rule, whatever you want to go off of. But that just the logo was actually designed by a local graph head. So whenever you see that logo, that's definitely us, or we have our hand in that project somehow.
All right.
We got that coming. We've got several collaborative efforts with MLP that we're looking into. We got the Aeon Primitive Simarius album, Esco Dex. I got an album that I'm doing for Pure Product, a mixtape. And then after that, I know I posted a mention that definitely want to get behind artists and help people get out there. I wouldn't say he's my artist, but Benny Self, I'm really looking to work with him. Also Alex Berg, she sings, and we're working on some stuff, man. So expect music definitely in the future.
Awesome.
That's definitely what we're looking into that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming through.
No problem.
Shout out to Big G for hosting it in MLP Studios.
Big G, all the MLP camp, Aeon Primitive, Diabetics crew, album was good, Cliff Notes, my brother from another mother, the whole Cruises scene, all local hip hop, all the New Mexico artists that mess with me. We gonna do some stuff, definitely.
That's our first one. Got a lot more coming. Get at me if you want to. Peace.
State of mind, don't fear the reaper. Sleepwalking, I'm coughing blood in the sink, and all I see is a coffin. Demons talking, please help, Lord. The devil trying to kill us, selling lies to several fools. The greatest trick he ever pulled. Kendrick swimming pools, liquor sipping, coke sniffing, fools tripping, popping lip apocalypse, and they popping clips in all these pics. I'm reminiscing.